try setting about right here. I feel like this is a good spot.
Break comes higher, and you sit there with yourself looking mighty fine.
Okay. Bring the list over there, so I'll keep looking down there every so often. Basically, a couple things. First of all, you losing 6 decks in one night. I would be broken. I would give up. Second of all, Jimmy, yes, yeah, I showed you more videos of Jimmy. I don't know if he's asleep now, so I don't know if I can make any today, but I'll definitely make some, and we can kind of exchange videos of Jimmy, and you should send me videos of your bearded dragon if he's still around. Then, please send me the book. That would be fantastic. Would love to just get something in the mail and be like, whoa, this is awesome! Whoa, this is awesome! Actually, you were saying with that book that people nowadays are so easily giving up on stuff, and I must say, yeah, that's really true. I think this is a reason why certain professions have gotten bigger. For example, gym instructors. It's like a much bigger thing. Like there's much more gyms and gym instructors now than there used to be, and I think it's because those people have a talent for motivating you to the next step in your routine, physically, right, to bulk up or whatever. So they help you reach your goals, and that kind of mentor/teacher role is becoming more popular because people are finding that they're more easily distracted by the internet. They're more quickly just the crap of life, of adult life, I think for a lot of people, but even young people as well. It just gets to people way quicker, and they need mentors and guidance to help focus them. And I think in the past, and I'm talking medieval times, that was more in the village. You'd have a community really supporting each other, and that's where you get your mentors. But now that we live in a much faster paced, more interconnected and big city kind of society, even in small villages, it's not the same anymore, the sense of community. I think that's what changed a lot of it. Now we hire people, which is cool because there's a whole new job available, but we hire people to help us with these things that we lack and to help us sharpen ourselves. And I think, yeah, you're totally right. People really give up easily on stuff. I mean, even I have moments where I get fed up and I ask myself, wait, what is actually wrong right here? Am I actually upset about something, or is it just because I didn't succeed the first try, And I think people are also unrealistic about their goals. Verity and I often talk about our future goals, and we always say, don't set the goal up here, but break it down into steps so that it's like a stairway going up to the goal rather than just a random goal that people always do at New Year's celebrations. They're always like, yeah, I'm going to change my life this new year, woo, and they don't succeed in their New Year's resolutions because they haven't actually made in-between steps of how to get to that final goal. So it's a new goal, basically. So your party, the party that you went to, super cool to hear about that, and also just super cool that you had this chance meeting with someone who made a movie. And I don't know, I haven't had many chance meetings lately, but every so often I do, and when you have these chance meetings, sometimes something really amazing comes out of it. Sometimes nothing much happens from it, but it's still an encounter that leaves you, I guess, leaves your heart, soul, whatever, a little bit more elated and happy. And I think that's what those chance encounters are for. And I think it's really cool that I just don't know how you did it. You went to a party, you ended up staying in London all night, got the train in the morning back, had the chance encounter there as well, so you had several chance encounters in a row. And I think you were just, I guess maybe that mindset you were in, you were just super open to new things at that time. That's really cool, I really respect that. You said for your game world that you want to be in this Mirror's Edge. So I haven't actually played it, so I went and watched some tutorials and videos, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting choice, because you chose this massive, built-up skyscraper city. It's just city everywhere, you're free running across, and it's kind of in this dystopian, futuristic-ish, authoritarian kind of government and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, that's a really interesting choice, because it seems like, and I might be reading in here, I might be over-reading, that you kind of like the idea of this really crazy, sprawling city. And I was like, if that's the case, come to Singapore. No, if that's the case, then you should definitely come visit. I mean, I do seem to be inspired by the idea of like metropolises. And so yeah, it's a cool choice. If I was to choose a game, I think I considered Skyrim, but then I was like, the world is filled with monsters and the population is actually very low. It's a beautiful place though. I could just move to Norway then, like somewhere in the fjords, you know? I think I would choose, rather than Skyrim or Oblivion, I would choose Morrowind. Because, okay, Morrowind's like messed up place as well, as a lot of Tamriel is in the games. But in Morrowind, it just had this more expansive feel. There's more magic available in Morrowind than there was in Skyrim. As in, they're technically the same, but you could do much more. You could level up far more with your magic. So what I would do is I would go to live in Morrowind, and obviously, if I got to choose, I would choose to be quite a rich noble who specializes in magic. And then, I mean, diseases can be healed by magic, all that stuff. So I would have access to all this cool stuff, be part of Morrowind, and I think that's what I would do. And the Nords are kind of racist. Though Morrowind guys are a little bit as well.
You Inma.
Oh yeah, also you mentioned that you'd like to see people that I know here. Sure, I don't know if I'm going to do it in this video, but I'll definitely start introducing people to you. This video I wanted to spend a little bit more time explaining what Singapore is all about. We did talk about it a bit when I was still in the UK. My motivations for wanting to live abroad, and obviously, we did discuss it, but I just wanted to like formalize it, I guess. And maybe convince you to come live here for a year or 2 or 5. I don't know. No, we'll see. I'm just kidding. But maybe you might be impressed and be like, wow, I want to live there too. So I took some videos of me walking around. The cool thing about Singapore, and the thing that I really like, is it's got this massive metropolis feel, where at the same time it's so compact. I mean, the size of Singapore is only about the size of like half of some of the Dutch provinces. So it's tiny, but it's got so much going on. Like way back in the day, Singapore was just a tiny little fishing village. There were a couple Malays living here. And it wasn't until 1819 that the English came, Sir Stamford Raffles is the English guy's name, with the East India Trade Company, and set up a port in Singapore. And the funny link that I like is that port was kind of set up to thwart the Dutch, because the Dutch had colonized most of Indonesia at that time, and the English were like, every time they passed through the Dutch waters, they would be taxed very frequently, and obviously their trade from China to India to England was hindered by this tax. Anyone could come and do business in Singapore. And that kind of is the foundation of how Singapore grew. He gets Indian workers from the south of India to come and start building. A lot of them were convicts at the time. And he brings them in. They start to build roads, create a network of a town, basically. And then, obviously, you had the Malays already living there. But the Chinese started to move there as well, because the Chinese were living already in this area, but they wanted to set up businesses. A lot of them were merchants. So you got this melting pot of different cultures, but at this time they were still very separated from each other. And the English didn't really care about that. They didn't care about social harmony. They just wanted money. I feel that way at the time. They cared more about creating a bustling port. So when you fast forward through time, this kind of sleepy fishing village to a pretty big port on the English trade routes. Then, fast forward to World War II, Singapore got invaded by the Japanese, taken over. Singapore at this time was, I would say, one of the happier colonies compared, they were okay with the English ruling them, whereas some other places were very upset and anti-colonialist. At this point in time, before World War I, Singapore was still okay with the colonial government. It was when the Japanese invaded from behind, so they came through Malaysia and down into Singapore from the top. And the English had almost no resistance against them. Why? Because the English fleet was engaged in Europe. That's when Singaporeans said, wait, so you're supposed to be governing us and you can't even protect us? So after the Japanese occupation of Singapore, then they asked for independence with Malaysia. So at this point in time, the late 1940s, probably 1950s to 1960s, Singapore and Malaysia were one country. Singapore was just one big city in Malaysia. And here's the interesting thing. Things started to go downhill very quickly. You see, Singapore's governing politicians were the PAP, who are still actually ruling today. They get voted, they're very popular, they get voted in a lot. Some people see conspiracies there. I don't know, their policies make a lot of sense from what I've seen so far on TV, so I'm guessing that's why they keep getting voted in. Anyway, they got into power in Singapore, and Singapore had a very high percentage of Chinese citizens versus other parts of Malaysia. Some other parts of Malaysia have a high amount of Chinese as well, but Singapore had the most. So this became very disturbing, this became like tension. And the most interesting thing is that Singapore is, I believe, the only country in the world to ever be forced into independence. So most other countries have fought for their independence on purpose. Malaysia and Singapore at that time, they were all together working on being free of colonialism. Then they became Malaysia as a whole. And I think back then they were called the Federation of Malaysia, something like that, I'm not sure. Anyway, they were there together, and then tensions got so bad between Singapore and the rest of Malaysia that that actually Malaysia voted to kick Singapore out of the Federation. So basically they weren't independent by choice, they were independent because Malaysia didn't want them anymore.
On the 9th of August 1965, the separation became official.
There have been differences between the central government and the leaders of the Singapore state government. And these differences take so many forms and are of so many kinds that it has not been possible to resolve them.
I mean, for me, it is a moment of anguish because all my life, you see, the whole of my adult life, I had believed in Malaysia, in merger and the unity of these two territories.
And with an island with no natural resources and a high population, not developed at the time, and no natural water source, this was like crushing for Singapore. But this is the thing that's so impressive about this place, is the mentality of working hard can get you towards your goals. And it's kind of like what we were saying earlier, when people don't want to work hard to do things. Here they basically created, people refer to as an economic miracle. They used just their location and their manpower and the people of the country, city, country, to create Singapore, and that's why I find Singapore such an interesting place. It was in 1965 when this forced independence happened, and the thing that I love about Singapore in this sense is it's truly a multicultural and multiracial nation. So like it's and all the first big speeches was that we have to co-inhabit this island together in racial, religious harmony, and it's just, that's what I love about it. So I've got some shots of places that I've gone. Singapore is also known as a garden city, so you'll see lots of greenery everywhere. It's because the first Prime Minister was a gardener himself, and they believed really strongly back then already in making space for nature and beautiful things and giving back to the people through parks and places, public areas where you can hang out and chill. There used to be guys with those things on their shoulders with food on either side walking around hawking their wares, and this was creating pollution, all that stuff. So the government decided to step in and create hawker centers where all these food stalls get to have, they share obviously a public space, they share tables, but also they can waste manage more effectively, water, gas, all these things. And that's created such a food culture here that even Gordon Ramsay has come and he's been taught by Singaporeans about how to make food. So it's just these things that are so awesome about Singapore that makes me love living here and kind of motivated me in moving here. But another big thing is its population now is more than 5 million. And a lot of it's made up of people from all over the world coming here for opportunities, etc. And of course Singaporeans too. But the thing with the arts right now is the arts in Singapore, the arts scene here is really growing at a fantastical rate. Government's putting money into it, but also people are realizing the need for creativity in what used to be a very strictly business and financial kind of mindset in the city. With fewer artists, now people are realizing the importance of creativity and artistry in every aspect of life. And just seeing all that made me think I need to move here while the scene is growing and become part of Singapore's art scene. So that's kind of been my goal now, which I'm steadily working towards, piece by piece, is to just, experience it, then also become part of Singapore's multiracial and multinational identity. So yeah, that's my reason for moving here. Sounds weird to say it out loud. So yeah, just wanted to give you a brief introduction on what Singapore is all about. So yeah, I'm sure you'll learn more as I do more videos. I'll mention more interesting things. Maybe I'll even repeat myself. I probably will repeat myself. Right, alright, that's all from me. I'm going to try to edit this down into less than 10 minutes, which is going to be impossible, I think. Okay, see you later, man.